Hey guys, it's Kayla Ewell from Directionally Challenged, a podcast about realigning your internal compass. New KFC chicken nuggets are finally here, and you have never had nuggets like these. All of the delicious KFC flavor you love in one amazing chicken nugget. 100% white meat, hand breaded in KFC's original recipe. Order new Kentucky Fried Chicken nuggets now available at participating KFC near you. Guys, they're finger licking good.
Me. I am a memoir. I said a memoir. The meaning of Mariah Carey.
Hello, Lamely. Welcome to another bonus episode of Me, I Am a Memoir, the meaning of Mariah Carey. Normally, we dip into Mariah Carey's memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey here. But in these bonus episodes, we look at the wider world of Mariah.
Ooh.
And this...
It's like the wide world of sports.
Yes.
But Mariah.
And this,
that's the news I want to see.
This episode, we have caught in our net of Mariah, in our Mariah net, we have caught the album Music Box. Oh, I'm very excited. This is Fab, that's Posh, and this is going to be only one thing, which is breaking me on down.
Yeah. It may go over 9 episodes by the time we get there, but we'll see how we go. Bring me on down. All right, Music Box. 11 tracks on the Aussie version.
Yes.
Released August 31st, 1993, which was a few years, about 5 years before Mariah was actually born.
I know, amazing.
Sold 28 million copies. Mariah's highest seller to date. It went to number 1 in the US, number 1 in Australia, and about 1 billion other places too.
It's amazing.
We opened with Dream Lover by Mariah Carey and David Hall, which samples Blind Alley by The Emotions. Mm-hmm. It went to number 1 in the US, number 7 in Australia. What were we thinking?
We're terrible people.
Terrible. Mariah says this was the beginning of a more urban direction.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this is probably my earliest Mariah memory.
Oh, really?
I was probably aware of songs like Hero and Without You around the same time, but this was the song that made me aware of Mariah Carey as a person where I could go, oh, that's Mariah Carey.
Right.
Like, and oh, that's her in the video, that's her singing on the radio. Like, I could put it together.
Right.
And I have to say, lyrically, it kind of hits differently after Tommy. Mm-hmm. The whole Come Rescue Me stuff. Mm. So, yeah, that was my little...
In hindsight, it does feel like a very different song.
But I do know that this is a favourite of yours, so I'm going to let you take the mic.
It is absolutely... Like, this whole album is one of my favourites. So, as part of my deep dive into this album, I have pulled out my VHS.
You can hear them.
Listen to that tape. Look at it. And obviously, I love it so much. I'm still halfway through from whenever the last time I watched this tape was.
You just got tired on rewind.
Yeah,
it's too much.
Yeah, it's too hard. So I watched this again the other day. And because they have like, at the end of the videotape, they have like the making of the Dream Lover film clip. Right. And then they play the film clip. Video for those of you overseas or under 50. The music video. We used to call them film clips in the old days because they were made on film. They were short clips. But yeah, so the Dream Lover video was amazing. But yeah, it's because it looks like, I think it was all filmed at Sing Sing. And in
interesting.
The environs.
So I did find out some stuff about it. The description of it is underwater in shorts.
Yes.
Dancing in a field. Sexy farm prairie scarecrow look. Sunflowers, a horse, hot dancers, hot air balloon. Are they line dancing? Hip hop self-defense line dancing. Waterfall, dog, turtle, Mariah in flat shoes.
Yeah.
And my comment on it was the 90s had too much money for videos about nothing. But the hip-hop self-defense line dancing was a moment, I have to say.
That's also weirdly replicated in the concert version of the song on that video.
Amazing. But I didn't think of it. You could be right, because there was water on the grounds of Sing Sing, which we discussed was there in case it burnt down. And then when it actually did burn down, the water was too far away for the hoses. Yeah. So it burnt down. But yes, so how was there sort of reasoning for doing it there other than Mariah's not allowed out?
I think that's part of the main reason.
Yeah. Of course you can do the video in the backyard.
Yeah, because the dogs are there and there's her horses are there. Like, all of her, upstate New York business is there.
Yeah.
It's like, so seeing that now after reading the book, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I was hoping to see a flash of the Burger King in the background where she got the fries.
Just Debrat walking past with a bit of fries in her mouth.
I mean, this was all before, obviously. This is a full album before, so maybe that hadn't
that's
built
true.
that Burger King yet. But yeah, the song is... I remember absolutely like listening to it again, like the little crackle on the sample record, like I just absolutely, it just, because, Mariah's first album was one of the first CDs I bought, and I was pretty much all CD all the time by this point. Hearing record
DP
crackles,
all the time.
hearing like the vinyl record crackle, I was like, oh my God, that's right. That's what records used to sound like.
All I get when I hear the beginning of like any kind of record sample or just actually playing a record, all I can hear after the crack is put the needle on it, put the needle on it. It's all I get.
You have problems. Because it's like, that's a weird thing with records is like sometimes I'll hear a song, like whether it's a Petula Clark song or a Dusty Springfield song or the Supremes, and I'll be like, it doesn't sound right. There's no crackle in that. There's normally a crackle in that spot, because that's the way I was used to listening to them when I was a kid. My dad's all ruined records that I stole. So yeah, I absolutely love Dream Lover. Just like it's a joyous thing. It's, dancey and fun and silly, and you get to do. You got to love a song that's got a do in it.
Obviously.
So yeah, it's fun. But given the highs on this album, I don't think Dream Lover is the best song on the album.
Yeah. I will say, when it came to sort of the scoring, I feel like for memory purposes, it's an infinity for me, because it's just as soon as I think of it, it's like, oh, Mariah, but
and it's got that gorgeous kind of dirty beat. Like the beat is kind of crunchy.
I love a dirty beat.
I love a dirty beat.
DB, if you will. But when I actually scored it in comparison, I went for a 4.5, because as much as I love it, I don't really revisit it very often. It's not one that I go, oh, got to put that one on. It's more like, oh, this is fun. I like this song. But it doesn't ever kind of hit the same heights as some of these other moments.
So now I don't know how your scoring goes, because...
No one does. I don't know.
I would give the album cut of Dream Lover, a 4.5.
Okay, so we're on the same.
But
for that. Okay,
if we are talking David Morales remix EP of Dream Lover, we are going into 22finity land, because that is...
So I've created a little file. So far I have to look at Make It Happen remixes. Now we're going Dream Lover David Morales.
Like there are about 12 of them.
Which is the one?
Like the 10-minute one.
Oh, for fuck's sake. What's the radio edit of that?
There is a radio edit, but it's just not like there's not enough in it. Like the radio,
I'll go 10 minutes.
The radio edit is not. It just doesn't have the Dream Loveriness.
Okay.
Because
that's
again,
a word.
So it's it's Mariah, it's the Price Sisters, it is full like crazy. I can't even begin to tell you how amazing it is. But like it's a full, like you got to go the full 11 minutes. Like there's no fucking around.
Oh. How dare I?
So yeah.
So you're infinitying the remixes, but 4.5 for the album version. Is that how you're feeling? Okay.
But yeah, the remix, like seriously, this like I listened to the entire remix album the other day, which is in and of itself goes for about 2 hours.
Not surprised.
Because like
that's just side one.
There's new ones have turned up over time. Like there's a 2005 remix of like edit, or well, not even an edit, like just a remix of the remix. But she sings it anew. It's a completely different key. It's really urgent. It feels more like how the single feels kind of happy and glorious. Like the remix is like, no, Dream Lover now.
She thirsty.
She said she had a couple of splashes when she recorded these, and I'm like, I hear that.
There's Mariah Carey.
Also, like more whistle tones than you've ever heard in your entire life. Like she sings, like I reckon the last 4.5 minutes of the song is all whistle.
Okay. That's beautiful. Thank you, Mariah. All right, shall we jump on to track 2, which is Hero by Gloria Estefan.
Ugh. Don't bring her up.
Written by Mariah and Snuffleupagus. It was a US #1 and Australian #7. What were we thinking? We already know the story of this. You don't even want to talk about it.
We don't need to talk about the steaming #2 that brought up this amazing #1.
But we do love a little moment from the book, which I will go straight into the video for this one, because when I saw that it was a live video, I was like, oh, here we go. It's going to be some poorly filmed, slapped together, or someone filmed it on their phone in 2006. I was so wrong. It's probably my favorite video so far.
Yeah.
It was an actual live vocal, though near enough to the original that it wasn't jarring as like this is some other song. And as it went on, I started seeing the audience's faces and saw that they weren't singing. I'm like, that's interesting, but they look really, connected and in awe.
Because they'd never heard it
before. I thought to myself, do not tell me that this is Schenectady.
This is Schenectady.
But as it went on, I got posh emotional. And after the fact, I did confirm that it is, in fact, from that concert. And I've got to say, Mariah got me. I was there with the audience, not knowing the words, except I did because it's the future.
That's the Schenectady video.
There you go. I don't know. There was something in my head. I was like, it's probably clips from different shows or...
at the end of my favourite purple VHS... Mariah Carey. This is Mariah Carey, as they call it in America.
This is.
They have a little brief moment of what looked like was going to be the film clip of Hero. And it's black and white. There's some close-ups, non-concert close-ups. And then there's her performing in front of like a full string orchestra. Obviously filmed in Schenectady at the same time as this concert. But I reckon they've just gone, you know what? The vocal is so pristine.
Sure,
It is so good in the live version. Let's do that. And
another thing... they were coming off MTV Unplugged too, let's not forget.
And I watched, having watched it again recently, because at the time I remember thinking, like, sometimes it looks like she's singing and sometimes it looks like she's miming. And having read the book now and her talking about constant takes, I'm like, oh,
that could have been a visual from another take.
They would have done the show, told the audience to get stuffed, and then done a whole bunch of other like close-ups and stuff. And let me tell you, there is some amazing fan work going on in that video.
There is.
There's just some gentle hair breeze.
I did watch Billy on the Street with Mariah at Christmas time, and it was very windy, and I thought that's why she picked that night, because it was windy.
She kept cancelling.
And her hair looked amazing.
She keeps cancelling. It's going to be windy on Thursday. I'm coming. Billy, get ready. It's windy. I'm coming.
God, sorry. Billy, it's windy. I'm coming. There's a whole thing.
No,
I was
do
just not
do
ready
not
for
bring
that.
Mariah into disrepute. There'll be no DP. I know she had DP on the way out, but not on the way in. She had twins?
Wait. Honey, if those things weren't magically removed, I'll tell you. But look, it's Hero. It's one of those things, like when I often think of Hero, I kind of, similar to Mariah, go, it's the schmaltzy one. But then you got to love the schmaltz. Like, when it comes on, you just feel transported. So
also, just, it's got a bridge that just is to
Lord
die
knows.
for. And yeah, Lord knows. It is
Dreams
an
are
amazing
hard to
bridge.
follow.
And there's a spectacular key change there, and her vocal is so good. Like, we are talking about right in the center of her range, like where she has absolute control and so much power as well.
It's right in the Gloria hole.
The Gloria hole, like I'm.
You're vibrating with excitement.
No, I'm just feeling splinters because, like, she just misses notes half the time, Gloria. And I worry she's just going to get a bit of friction off the edge of that Gloria hole.
Oh my gosh. But no, there is. God, he's gone.
Getting a splinter from the Gloria holes.
Oh my God, that sounds quite terrible. I've actually never seen one, but I was.
They exist.
This is so stupid, apparently. So I
looked at one on Twitter today.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
I was going to mention some names of who it probably was anyway. I was like, oh, how is edit that out. So I recently, as you know, I was in Elwood. And there was one day, it was a windy day, so I was like, I can go outside because my hair will look nice.
Yes, you'll be full Mariah, full blown.
So I went for a little walk along the beach, and I was just sort of in my own world, and I sat there and I looked out at the water, and I thought, this is lovely. Started to get a little rainy, so I was like, I'll head back. And because I'd not been to this particular section before, I was very just sort of like taking it in. And then as I walked home, I was actually able to sort of look around more. And I noticed this car park, and there's like heaps of cars there, and people sitting in them. And I was like, it's a funny, like, I like the idea of, on the way home from work, you stop at the beach and maybe you get out and you have a little snack or something. But these people were all in their car.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is odd.
Cold. As you said, it was windy.
Yeah, but it was comfortable. And I thought, okay, it's interesting that they've all done it. And so anyway, I kept walking. And then I saw someone knocking on another window. I was like, oh, I've got it. It's a drug deal. I've decided it's a drug deal. That's what's happening here. I was like, okay, each to their own, darling. Okay. You do your thing. So I kept going. But it really stuck out in my head as like, what is this? Like, who goes to the beach just to sit there? Don't even get out. Don't go sit on the sand. It wasn't pouring down with rain. They really could have gotten out. So I Googled it. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah. Keep going, though. I'm enjoying it.
And
I'm enjoying your naivety.
It came up with, and this is something I love about myself, is how naive I can be. It came up with a thing, I think it was called Squirt.
Oh, yes, Squirt, where you can find where all the public toilets where you can cop a gobble, yeah.
Well, supposedly this is a spot that people frequent, and they say a little hello in the car, and then they go into the bushes and have some fun. Yeah. And I thought, well, good for them. But the thing that came to me all of a sudden in a flashback was, here I was slowly walking past, staring in every car, because I'm like, what is going on here? And now they're all probably thinking that I, am down. And look, I'm not saying I'm not, but I've not gotten there yet, Like, I'll think about it.
Yeah, no, you're down.
Those bushes just seem really scratchy. I don't know. I have a bed. Why not use it?
Why not?
But yeah, so that's a thing that I learned this week. Anyway, so for Hero by Gloria Estefan, you can't deny it. I had to give it infinity.
How did we get to there?
I don't know, but I segued back really well. How soon into Sorry did you realise? Was it like immediate?
Yeah. As it started.
Yeah.
Because it started with talking about glory holes, you idiot.
That's true. It's like, speaking of drug deals.
No drug deals.
So yes, I gave Hero an infinity.
Yeah, how can you not?
How can you not? Is that your score as well?
Yeah, that's infinity plus infinity.
Okay.
Plus infinity.
It's a DP, a triple DP of infinity.
Yeah, steaming number 2finity.
So track 3, Anytime You Need a Friend.
Yes.
By Mariah and Walter Snuffleupagus, which was a US and an Australian number 12. What were we all thinking?
Well, it was not. I remember this not being huge. And I remember her going out and doing many appearances to try and push the single.
Just you wait about the many videos because I had to watch them all.
Oh, really?
And I have thoughts.
I didn't even know there were that many of them.
You wait. There's some surprise ones. So this was actually, this might shock a few people. This was a first listen for me.
Oh, really?
I think because when it was just one of the songs that starts and I'm like, oh, I don't know it. Skip. So when I listened to this, I'd probably not heard beyond the intro. Oh. So I have to tell you, that chorus hit me like a truck.
It does, doesn't it?
And I need a friend. I was like, hang on. Grabs you by the scruff. Oh my God. It was so good.
It is such a good song. I can't believe
what I think is so...
So when I emailed you the other day and you saw the list of 4,000 versions of this song that I was listening to...
You sent me Dream Lover, I think.
I sent both. It was Dream Lover.
Oh, did you? Oh, I didn't see the other.
Yeah, there was like two. So there was like...
You DP'd, double picture.
Yes. Basically, I listened to all of the remixes of this and all of the remixes of Dream Lover because I have huge affection. I think I have 6 different CD singles of Anytime You Need a Friend.
Amazing.
But yeah, like it was like a 4-hour listening session of just two remixes.
Didn't even listen to Music Box. It was just
I listened to Music Box as well, several times.
Okay, so we will get to remixes.
But yeah,
the
core song is
stuff
beautiful.
Yeah. So firstly, we need an Anastasia cover. That's just as soon as I heard it, I was like, I need Anastasia to do this. With Taylor Day. And I have to say, I think part of the reason that I hadn't listened to it is because the straight hair and the bad font on the single threw me off.
Yeah, it's hard.
This is full Curly Raya.
Yeah.
This is Curly Raya singing right here. And Choir Mariah as well.
Yeah.
Hashtag Choir Mariah.
This is very churchy.
Now, we had the Price Sisters and Melanie Daniels on both these. Mm-hmm. And this is actually where I found out that Kelly Price, is one of the Price Sisters. I hadn't put it together that Kelly Price is one of these singers. And she actually sings an awesome version of Shaka Khan's Ain't Nobody in the greatest film ever made, Bringing Down the House, starring Queen Latifah. She's in it. She's literally in it singing. And Queen Latifah singing, dancing with Steve Martin. It's the best movie. Oh my God, it's so good. Just thinking about it. But there are 5 trillion videos for this. Yeah. Okay, you ready? So the official video, we've got Straight Raya.
Yep.
We've got Windows. We've got Mariah against a wall. Kids running. Choir on stairs, even though we know there's not actually a choir singing in the song. So they're actually lying to us. Just saying, choirs shouldn't lie. There's hopscotch. Mariah goes outside. There's a lady that looks at a sky, at the sky, not a sky.
Is this
so
all done
several
in
skies.
Long socks and a short skirt and a long jacket?
Probably.
She was really into the short skirt.
She's very covered up. Yeah. There's a man on a chair. There's a backflip. There's an old man dancing, a basketball, and more lying choir. Then we have the alternative video for the CNC remix.
Yes.
Which is obviously a remix. Tommy's there for some reason.
Why?
There's behind the scenes footage. There's cops. There's extra people. There's weird deeper vocal on the verses. There's more smiling. There's Mariah ironing. Mariahans, as I call it.
Mariahans, yes, I remember.
There's a pillow fight. Mariah straightens her hair and she has a dressing gown, which was reminiscent of Dem Baby's dressing gown. Then we have the Soul Convention remix. So there's bits of the OG and the remix video, plus footage of a roller coaster, fairy floss, car Raya. I think Mariah sits on Tommy's like disgusting. Icky. Then there's plain Raya and a curly straw.
Yeah.
Okay. So it seems like Mariah was like, I want to go to the carnival. Oh, fuck, Tommy's coming. Better sit on his lap. There's photographers. Then we have the Lost video.
The Lost video.
Do you know about this Lost video?
No. I thought I did.
Was
this MC30 turned up, like from out of nowhere, or...?
It was Entertainment Tonight.
Right.
So I don't think so. Because it's not actually... The whole thing hasn't been released or even leaked. But Entertainment Tonight interviewed Mariah on set of a video for Anytime You Need a Friend. But she had lighter, curlier hair. Mariah is in a gown as like a princess/queen.
Yes.
There is a choir, but it is a different choir. Mariah makes fun of there being no concept in the video. There was a castle, though. And in all honesty, it looks like it would have been amazing. It was very extra. Mariah mentioned walking around in the dirt barefoot somewhere. The Price Sisters were there. We think it was shelved for the hair because Mariah says the hair was hideous. And the fans say it's because there was some cleavage.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So that's probably why. But it looked kind of amazing. Like
Voluminous
it would have been the same kind of deal, but it was Curly Raya.
Too many grand gestures with voluminous breasts.
Grand gestures, absolutely. But I've got to say, as time went on and I watched the 19th video for this song, I started to die a little inside.
You should have stopped.
But what was so good was, like, the original one would have been the best if that had have been seen through.
Yeah, but not if the hair was no
it
good
would
and
have
the
been.
boobs were out.
No, but that's well, exactly. But to be honest, the hair was fine. It was the same as in the Hero video clip. Mariah, that's not Mariah's favorite hair, but it's still, she looked amazing, of course. But it just looked bigger, and it actually had like, it kind of sounded like it had, even though Mariah was like, "There's no concept." There was a castle and she was rolling around in the dirt. That sounds fun.
It does sound fun, but I think what happened with this video, like, they did a lot of promo on this song. Like, I remember seeing she sang it on Letterman. Where else did I see? I saw her on a few like live TV performances where she belted it out to Next Week, because it's one of those songs that gets belted. Like once you hit the chorus, it's like, well, we're singing this all the way to the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like the CNC remix is amazing. Like, I mean, there are about 400 remixes.
I was going to say, what are the remixes you think
again, all of them
are the ones?
The one with the most scatting at the end is my favorite. There is so much scatting. Like,
Kim Cattrall got paid so much for that.
Kim Cattrall, like, no, Mariah, what doesn't sully scatting with weird, obtuse lyrics? She just gets a bit of did it.
Surface array. Well, he's something with the he dogs and something with the she dogs.
She just gets
little dog Grace to the end of his day.
No more dogs. It's just did it. The best thing is, I think I sent it to you, scatting and whistle notes together.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. It's heaven.
I just got to play the Kim Cattrall video over my Get Smart intro. And call it Anytime You Need a Friend 2021.
No, that is not how that works. Anyway.
It would be amazing.
Anytime You Need a Friend is a great song and has even better remixes. And many of them. You have to listen to all of them. The whole hour. I want the whole hour.
Oh, God. I'll put it on double time. Fast
No, you have to listen to all of them as if you're at a club.
Why would I do that? Very exciting news that for a first listen, I smashed this out with an infinity.
Yeah, how can you not?
I was like, I'm there, Mariah.
This has always been an infinity, this song.
Okay, there you go.
It's a very beautifully structured song with like 800 kinds of belt going
on. So you're infinitying as well?
Oh, yeah, try and stop me.
The next track is the title track, Music Box, which was also a first listen for me, by Mariah and Snuffleupagus. Now, the title came from a sample, which was called Music Box. Mariah then sampled a real music box and kept the name. Being a first listener for me, I thought it was a nice song. Not a lot happens, and it sort of reminds me of other Mariah songs stapled together. I thought that was good. That was good. Let's just pop them in. Second listen, it did sort of start forming its own little moment. But that's sort of where it is for me right now.
Oh, no, I love this one. I love the... I find the music box sample cloying and annoying. But once that's gone and Mariah starts singing... Because I love the different textures she's getting into her voice in this song. Like, there's a very light, breathy kind of performance that she's not really used that much before now. Like, she's used it a lot since, but this is kind of the first time she's like, I'm going to try and sing a bit more of a song in this kind of light, airy, kind of, breathy tone. And it's really sweet. It's like a really sweet tone. But also, it has quite a build in it. Like, so by the time you get to, the bridge, she is, 4 steps back from the microphone, belting out to the back of the room. It's like, I'm going to start like this, really sweet. And then by the end, it's like, and I love it. I love the richness of her voice in this song. Like, just this is one of those songs for me, like, yeah, structurally it's a little bit meh. Like you say, it feels like a whole bunch of songs stapled together, but just the vocal performance and the depth of her voice and the length she goes to show the light and shade that she has as a performer, I think it elevates it above what it actually is. This is like,
sure, the
recorded version of this reminds me a bit of when we were talking about If It's Over in the MTV Unplugged, where the song's fine, but then that vocal performance is so amazing. You're like, oh, that has elevated that now.
Yeah.
I feel like this song is, a little bit undercooked from a writing standpoint. But just, it's almost like the song has to be rudimentary because of what she's trying to do vocally. Like, it's like, I need a simple song so I can do this breathy, light voice and then move into this mother of a belt towards the end.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And I should say, the stapled together, they're good Mariah songs stapled together. They're not bad Mariah songs. It was more, just didn't kind of offer anything new.
Yeah, I get that.
But again, this is upon first listen.
Yeah, it doesn't have that kind of shock of the new that you get from Dream Lover, which is, you're like, oh my God, the squeals are coming in straight away.
Yeah.
It's, it's got that really dirty beat. It's really, it's a completely new sound. And this, you're right, does sound like, I think this is, Walter Afanasieff, this is the kind of the most he can manage in writing.
He's like, look how new and fresh we are.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just, I think this, for me, this song is all about her voice. This is just a showcase for her vocal range but not just, how many notes she can sing, but just how much texture she can get into her voice, whether it's soft or whether it's loud. It's, I think it gives me a little bit of a goosebump when I get towards the end.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, this is probably going to seem low now. I gave it a 3.5. What was your score?
All I have I want to give to thee is infinity.
Making me look bad. You're making up for your prologue last week.
It is. Look, this album really was... I just got back from overseas. I had come out of a 2-year relationship. I was, I needed big songs in my life. And she provided them in many ways.
Yeah. She was like, anytime you need a friend.
Yeah, she was my friend. She was there.
All right, on to the next track, which is Now That I Know, which was also a first listen. This is by Mariah Carey and David Cole. The first thing I appreciated is it does sound different. It sounds like something that's not on the rest of the album. It actually sounds a lot like a remix.
It does.
And I did question, is this song about Tommy?
Oh.
I don't remember why I questioned that, but I questioned it. I do remember the lyrics aren't quite in my head. So the thing, I kind of went back and forth on it because... So I did do a re-listen of this particular one. There were moments that actually reminded me of a song called Autumn Goodbye, which is a Britney Spears B-side on the Baby One More Time single. more for the vocal, because that's when Britney used to sing.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know,
So long ago.
she used to do a little
Email
bit of
my
the Mariah
heart.
inflections.
Some of her great
yes, because everybody does email. Now, so what I wrote was it's not bad, but the dance beat is slightly generic sounding now.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
It dated really quickly.
It has.
Like it dated. It started to feel dated like a couple of years after that.
Yeah.
Like that.
I will say
that Madonna Erotica album that dated really quickly because it had a lot
I've
of.
not actually ever listened to it.
It's got a lot of electronic drums in it, and it just kind of like that stuff was amazing in remixes.
Sure.
Hence, my absolute adoration and love for the Dream Lover and Anytime You Need a Friend remix. But on the album, I don't know. It's just like it just felt a little bit too groovy. Again, she sings the fuck out of this song.
Yeah. Look, I will say, like, when I listened to it again, I vibed a little more with it because I could sort of see past.
Yeah. The very contemporary production of 1993.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, there's...
the whole album, she sings the fuck out of it.
I know she does, but, it's... I don't know. This is one of those songs that you go, oh, yeah, I know that one. That's that dancey, poppy number. And then you listen to it again, you're like, oh, that's right. She really goes for it again. Like, she never gives herself a day off.
No.
She never...
Not until about 2005.
Like, vocally, she does not rest for even a millisecond on this album.
Well, I mean, Hero is her day off.
Yeah, I guess. And even that is like belty, belty, belty all the way through.
Yeah, exactly. So for this one, I smashed it with a 3 originally, but I let it have a 3.5 on re-listen because I did enjoy it a little more.
Yeah, look, this isn't quite infinity for me, but I reckon we're in about 4.8. Like we're close to 5. Because I just love that. My friends told me to leave you.
Hey guys, it's Kayla Ewell from Directionally Challenged, a podcast about realigning your internal compass. New KFC chicken nuggets are finally here, and you have never had nuggets like these. All of the delicious KFC flavor you love in one amazing chicken nugget. 100% white meat, hand-breaded in KFC's original recipe. Order new Kentucky Fried Chicken nuggets now available at participating KFC near you. Guys, they're finger-licking good.
All right. Now we have another song which was kind of a single, kind of not. Depends where you were.
Yes. I have
which
this,
is,
of course.
Yeah, I think I do as well. Which is Never Forget You. But I have to say, I don't think it was a first listen. I wrote first listen. I don't think it was. I think I had listened to it. By Mariah and a Babyface. Which was released alongside A Little Without You, which I think it got to number 3 in the US, I think probably on the back of Without You.
Oh.
Would I be wrong in saying so? Now, this was an interesting one. I think it's maybe a little bit of a grower.
Yep.
Not a shower. I sort of wrote that it's nice, but not necessarily that memorable, which is... Yeah, it's called Never Forget You. That's probably an issue.
Yep.
There was a remix radio edit, and I did write that it reminds me of End of the Road by Boyz II Men.
Yeah, that was a Babyface too, was it not?
Probably, yeah. It's that era.
On an album where everything is amazing, this is like one of those spots where you go, oh yeah, this one. I like this one. But, it's like, it's just not as amazing as everything around it.
Yeah.
It's it's as good as the song that precedes it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And look, so far, even when I'm a tougher scorer, there's been no song, except for maybe You're So Cold, where I've just gone, oh God. But even then, You're So Cold is catchy as hell.
Yeah.
So I've yet to come across one where I go, oh, that's a bad song.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, what was she thinking? Or what were they doing?
Yeah.
Or what was that performance? Like, I've not really come across anything like that. So even when things aren't the 5s or the infinities, it doesn't mean it's bad. When we get into 1s and 2s, you're in trouble. Yep. So for this one, I gave it a 3.25, but could grow on me.
Yeah.
I did make that allowance. How about you?
Look, because of the always at the end when she's really going for it, and
She screamed, it's an infinity.
she's singing over the top of herself and herself and herself. Like, it's like she goes into a cacophony of Mariah-ness. Look, again, not quite infinity, but I think this one's a 4.5.
Okay. You can do that. That's what you gave to Dream Lover. Interesting. Yeah. Now on to really a classic. Ken Lee.
Ken Lee. To live a
bracket without you. Close bracket.
To live a dibble.
Now this was a number 3 in the US and Australia and a number 1 in the UK.
Ooh.
So I think it gets a little extra moment in the UK pressings of the number 1. Thank you very much. Now it was written by Pete Ham and Tom Evans. It was a cover of the Badfinger song, but definitely based on the Harry Nilsson version. One of the best written and paced songs, I think. Yeah. And sung by, in this version, one of the best singers ever. So it's just iconic. Iconic, can't top it. It's iconic runs. It's a whole moment in and of itself.
Look, when, she says, it's one of my favourite songs as a little girl, I'm going to sing it for you tonight. I'm like, oh, it was one of my favourite songs when I was a little kid. Like, and it's...
They're going to say little girl.
Because we're the same age. I'm both 12. Yeah. But yeah, it was one of those things. It's like, oh, Mariah's singing a song that I absolutely adore already. And, the Harry Nilsson one has a nice plaintive quality to it. But, there are a lot of notes there that go begging. And Mariah does not stop herself from feeding those notes.
Have you heard the original?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Badfinger.
Yeah. There was someone else, and I probably deleted it because they're a horrible person who comes after people, but it's Piers Morgan. No. But it's a singer who covers this song and thinks that Mariah's version was trash. So I'm like, well, you're trash, you piece of shit. But I didn't write down his name because he doesn't have one and I don't know him.
Who is it?
I don't remember, some bastard. It's on Wikipedia. So yeah, see if you can find who covered it. He has, look, I listened to his version. He has a nice voice, but just don't bag Mariah, or I'll come for you. I might be pro low, but I'm pro mo, pro MC pro as well, and I will cut a bit. I'm from Grantville, all right.
Did they do it?
But yeah, he literally.
When?
I don't know. I don't know her, so.
I don't know. I can't find them.
It's just a straight man. I don't know.
Okay.
But the video for this was also from the Schenectady concert. Didn't quite have the same resonance as the Hero moment, but still fabulous. Of course, It's Mariah singing Without You. What else can you say?
Oh, it's so good.
So it's very...
And she, this is my first experience of Mariah bending at the waist to really push out a note. In the video, hanging on to the mic stand and just here it is.
Because this song does not let up.
It doesn't.
Once you start belting, you're belting forever.
And also, the breath required, the discipline of breathing.
Yeah.
I know Mariah has said frequently that she, she didn't have the discipline to be an opera singer. But I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, how much discipline must that be? Because it is hard work singing a song like this.
Yeah.
And many of her own songs that she's written for herself.
I have to stop for snack breaks during this
you
song.
gotta go for a walk. You gotta walk the dog halfway through
it. But yes, look, I did find out in the Mariah, when you mentioned about her hearing it when she was younger, apparently it was a song that Patricia would listen to, but then not long before, maybe while they were recording this album, she actually went to, I believe, just a coffee shop or somewhere, maybe to get a bagel.
Probably to get a bagel.
And it came on then, and that's when she thought, oh, I remember this song. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So it had been a long time between listens. And she was like, oh, my mother used to, play it, but I'm going to reclaim it for myself.
Take it with both hands. To the point where now it is a Mariah Carey song.
Well, pretty much.
Like that's all anyone ever associates it with. Because like even Ken Lee was by
Ken
Mariah
Lee
Carey.
by Mariah Carey. Yeah.
To live or live without you. And this is the song that, I know I have rubbished Mariah Carey's lower range. But
yes, I cannot believe that you would do such a thing.
I'm terrible. But when she she absolutely nails the low notes on this song. Yeah. Like, it is so beautiful. And again, like with the Music Box song, the climb from, this deep, resonant voice to the high, really clear, big notes. It's,
You're
so beautiful. I am for
It's like the build into the second chorus where there's like the drum beat like pushing. I was like, it's happening.
That one.
That's the one. So I think it's really no surprise that I gave this a little infinity.
Yeah. Without infinity. It has to be.
Yeah, what can you do? Infinicanly. I tried.
It's not actually.
So we're settled on that. We're both on the infinity wagon.
We're all on the infinity.
All right, let's hit up the next track, which is Just to Hold You Once Again, which was a first listen for me, Mariah and Snuffleupagus. What I wrote about this one is I thought it was nice. It feels like an early My All.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
She doesn't even say those lyrics, but just the yearning factor. Maybe not quite the heights of My All, but it's like, this is like, oh, I'm thinking about that kind of thing. And then by the time she got to My All, I'm like, oh, I know what I want to say.
Yeah, this is this is cute. It's very early 90s Mariah. Like this feels like, I know you were talking about Music Box feeling like it was stapled together. This one actually does feel like the best of Mariah Carey. It's like, okay, what do? We have like this piano building business. We've got some vocal layering. That's it just feels like a pastiche of Mariah. Weirdly, like on her own album, but it's it's fine. It's just it's on an album with some absolute belters. So there are going to be some ugly bridesmaids at this wedding. Unfortunately, they're going to still be wearing a pretty fucking good dress though.
Similar to Emotions, there's a lot of ballads. It is so they're competing against each other. It wasn't quite the same on the debut, which did kind of play around a little more. So I gave this one a 3.5.
Yeah, look, it's a 4. Like, it can't go below 4 because she's still...
Well, I just did.
Well, you can, but I can't because she still sings the bejesus out of it when she's finished with her bit of business at the start.
Maybe I'm like I went to the Patricia School of Scoring. I'm just way tougher. All right,
should have half
the next track.
Scoring talent I have.
The next track is I've Been Thinking About You, which was the first listen for me. Unfortunately, all I can think of is the I've Been Thinking About You.
No, that is a terrible song and I will not have it repeated.
Who is that?
That was... it used to come on at the Peel at like 4 o'clock in the morning whenever I was there.
The heterosexual song's on. You have to leave.
Wah, wah.
I need to look for that. I'm going to Google it.
London Beat.
Is that who it was?
I've been thinking about you.
Yeah, 1990. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all I can think of in this moment. But it was by Mariah, Robert Cleverley. I can't say it. And David Cole. What I thought was it's a little bit different from anything else that I've heard here from her. Neither good or bad, but dated.
Yeah.
I think I would enjoy it more if you just had no instrumentation, just Mariah singing.
Yeah.
I think I would enjoy it.
I mean, I'll look, and we're probably going to get this a lot with some of her production going forward. But yeah, I agree. Like the production feels of its time, which is something I think that Dream Lover manages to skip around. I think
a lot of
by
her,
hooking into
her songs
the kind of hip hoppy sound, whereas this was very dance. You know, this is a very dance sound, and it's like I don't know why I find the remixes. I'm fine listening to them again, but then sometimes when the dancey songs on the album, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that just feels very 90s.
Well, it is interesting because really, to be honest, dance music wasn't really something that was big in America.
No.
Like, when you look back
Not
at the
electronic
big
dance anyway.
No, the big dance tracks all came from Europe, pretty much. Even I remember back, 2001, 2002, Kylie won the Best Dance Recording Grammy for Coming to My World. And you almost don't recognize anyone else that was nominated in that set, whereas now it was pretty much apparently the electronic dance sound started when the Black Eyed Peas came to Australia, and because we have such an amalgamation of US, UK, European music as well as our own, dance was quite established here. And he went to I believe a club in Queensland, will.i.am, and was like, oh, they're not listening to, it's not hip hop like it is in America. Like, we still have that, but the club songs are dance electronic. And that's when he went back with your Boom Boom Pows and your all of those sounding songs, and they kind of took off. And since then, it seems that now all of a sudden everyone's doing the dance music. And so maybe, Mariah was one of the early ones going, oh, I've heard this.
Yeah, I love CNC Music
inspired by
jumping
someone.
on things that make you go, let's get on that.
And actually, so it's not that there was no one in America doing it, of course, but she was kind of really tapping into it, and maybe when she did a little traveling and all this sort of stuff.
But I think also more. I think that early 90s dance kind of electronica is, it did date very quickly. Like I said, that Erotica album just sounds terrible now. Like there's a few songs that I would probably be like, oh yeah, that's not too bad.
And maybe it is because there was only like 3 producers who were doing it, whereas in the in Europe and stuff, there was just more. It was more their little niche moment.
And also, I think it's, as has happened with her best dance songs, they're always remixes of other songs she's already done. Like, her remix stuff it's like, okay, I'm going to take this really beautifully structured, amazing song and rework it. Whereas I'm going to create a song that is dancey, feels like, oh, you're building it on not a very solid foundation. Sure. And maybe that's why they feel now a little bit kind of flimsy as songs. Yeah. Because But
you're right. I think that era was very that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's fine. It's just it's just a lot of weird synthesizer bells and whistles that you're just like, yeah.
Yeah. But I liked her melody. I liked what she was doing.
It's, the song is fine. It's just, I think it's let down by that kind of wishy-washy trying to be,
even at the time it may not have been,
but also maybe we don't know what was going on with Tommy and the execs and everything. Maybe it had a more urgent sound, and they're like, nah, pare it back. It needs to be more middle of the road.
We're saving this for another artist,
and this sample's not for you. But yeah, maybe this one was one of the ones where there was too much pushback from upstairs, because they would
fine, just whatever.
Like make it more middle of the road, make it more accessible.
So for this one, I gave it a 3.
Only 3.
Only 3. Oh. I'm sorry, Mariah.
Well, it has to have 4 because it's Mariah saying it.
It's forever making me look bad.
No, that's not the reason.
All right. Now we are
Music box. I love it all.
You love the box.
I love the box.
Now on to what on the standard edition is the final track is All I Ever Wanted, which was a first listen for me by Mariah and Snuffleupagus. What I wrote on this one was I thought it was nice again. I thought maybe a little more successful than some of the other many ballads, and a great vocal as always. It did remind me of, there were elements of Hero, and then obviously this came before these other songs, but When I Saw You and Through the Rain. I don't know why, just as I was just getting those moments. And I'll touch on some of that in a little wrap up at the end as well.
This is my favourite song on the album.
Okay.
The whole album.
Really?
Yeah. I know it has a very possibly intentional Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You vibe. Because when it hits that big note that carries across the key change, you're like, oh, here we are. Like, that is one of those things that just fills me with an emotion I can't actually explain. This was my shower song for probably about 12 years.
Mine is Chains by Tino Arena.
But yeah.
He watches me in the shower. It's perverted.
No, because you've told me 13 times.
Yeah. It probably got edited out. And will again.
See you later. None of our listeners want to think about you in the shower.
I think all of our listeners want to think about me in the shower. I can't make it through the rain.
But yeah, I don't want to face another day alone without your love. Oh my God. I love this song so much. Just from the like really gentle opening, that, really kind of sweet few chords that you hear, to then it just builds and builds and builds to the point where she is like, I feel like they've taken the roof off to complete the vocal on this song. Because her voice was filling up too much of the studio. It's probably what happened. To poke some holes to get out. So yeah, this is the absolute pinnacle of infinity for me, this song.
Oh wow. See, this is where I think, this actually, us discussing it can often help make or break, for me, like hearing another way of listening to it or things like that, because I think often as great, all of Mariah's vocals are amazing, and I did point them out on this one in particular, but I think for me I tend to look more at the song as a song. So that's, I'm looking at it going, you gave it infinity, I gave it a 3.5.
Oh, what? How very dare you? It's my favourite song. You know what? This is another thing with, and I know that there are a bunch of the Lamely who have the same feeling, that there are songs on albums that were not released that people don't really know, like Vanishing, which is just like an absolute, I adore that song, and that's my song from that album that I love. And and like the last album, it was Till the End of Time, and this is my song from this album. This is the one that I go, only I know and love this one. I know there's heaps of Lamely who know and love this song.
Yes.
But for me, like when people go, oh, Mariah, and like you could name 4 songs from this album, and they go, oh yeah, I know that one. But I would go, All I've Ever Wanted. They're like, no, I don't know that one. I was like, oh, well, let me sing it for you. 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'll sing the 15-minute version. But this is the thing. So, my initial score is lower, but then when I hear things like that, or, you're talking about the vocal, I'll pay attention to that next time, if that makes sense. And that can often,
go and listen
say
to
with
it
Vanishing, pull things up right now.
Am I going to get another addenda sent to me later in the week?
Maybe. Could do. You can act it out.
Now, another thing
with your
I will say,
voluminous breasts.
If this was the last track on this album, I may not have so much fondness for it.
Yes.
Because on the Australian version, it was not the last track. But if this was like the end, I might have gone, it's done.
I want one more.
I want dessert. So it was a lovely main meal.
It does bring us to some dessert, which is Everything Fades Away. Now, when I just looked at the title track as I was listening, I was like, oh, this is a first listen. But it sounded familiar. And I was like, why is that? And then I remembered it's on the rarities. So it is. So we have kind of covered it, but let's check in with it. So we've got Mariah and a Snuffleupagus again. What I thought instantly compared to the whole rest of the album is it feels more mature in the production. Yes. I felt little elements of Can't Let Go. Yes. We've got Choir Mariah, always good. And as it went on, like the chills got bigger, like the goosebumps. So I don't remember what I gave it initially, but it's smashing up to an infinity now.
What?
This is probably, it's tied for favourites.
So here's a weird thing. Album. So this song, amazing, and not on the US release or in most countries. Another song that was cut from this album, the B-side of Dream Lover, is Do You Think of Me, which I think we covered in the rarities as well, which is also one of my all-time favourite Mariah songs. And I think that there are a couple of songs, like if these two songs were actually on the album and you jettisoned a couple of your more mainstream dance attempt hits, I think this would be, I mean, I know it's a biggest selling album of all time. I don't know why I'm wanting it to be better. But I just feel like, you know, they sound like the kinds of songs, that's the kind of direction she's moving in as a writer, as a producer. Like, that's the kind of sound she wants more. And I feel like some of the Clavillis and Cole stuff on this album has been like pushed a bit on her in a way that is not, and also, you know, David Cole was probably not entirely well at the time. So yeah, I don't know. It just feels a bit like I love Everything Fades Away. I just think it's, you know, it's lush and it feels more progressive than anything else that comes before it almost. But also the fact that it's not a big grandstanding song. Like every single song on this album feels like a grandstander, whereas this feels like no, let's peter out a little bit. And I feel like if Do You Think of Me was on the album as well, it would be like one of those nice, let's have a little rest moments. Whereas every single song on this album feels like it feels like she's running for the entire time.
Sure.
Like Music Box is maybe the only time, like the early parts of that song where she gets to really stretch her legs vocally.
I'm going to sit down for a second.
But then, you know, she has to end the song on a big bill. So yeah, I kind of appreciate the, you know, the fact that the background vocals are mostly male and very up in the mix as well. It's a really sweet song, and I really, really love it. And it's an infinity.
Okay. See, we agree on something. Yeah. Now, just for a little bit of a bonus, I threw in a little Endless Love with Luther Vandross.
Oh, she tweeted about this last week.
She did. Isn't that funny? Because I literally had written it down before that, but I was like, she knows. She knows what's going on. Same as Debbie Allen.
Yes.
She tweeted about recently too, and she was just in the previous chapter. There you go. Now, my introduction to Luther Vandross was actually on the single for the Spice Girls Stop.
Oh.
They sang with Luther, I believe, at the Audience With event. And they sang Ain't No Stopping Us Now. And when I say that, I mean he sang it and they were kind of
not the one he did with Janet Jackson?
No, that's The Best Things in Life Are Free, which I do know. But I may have known the song, but maybe didn't know the name. But of course, this song was written by Alana Ritchie. And I have to say, pretty much every version of this song is great. But the most iconic version that I think of, which just trumps this version, is the Phoebe and Chandler version on Friends.
You're very silly, Matt. My mate Wayne and I, this is our karaoke go-to.
Don't lie, you don't have any friends.
Called Wayne. He lives in Brisbane. He's taller.
Sure he does. Wayne, because that person is.
He's like 6'6". But yeah, I used to host the karaoke at the at the Peel, and we always used to do this number. So when I'm in Brisbane, we go to Sporty's bar and we do a bit of karaoke there. We always belt out a bit of My Endless Love.
Are you Mariah?
I'm Mariah and Luther. He barely gets a look in.
So there was a little music video, which was really just a recording studio environment.
Yeah.
It was sort of nothing in particular that was going on. And so what I thought with this one, it's funny. It's one that I really quite like, but I don't revisit it.
Well, because it's
Really?
hard to get onto because it's just a single.
It's just, it doesn't
Lived
have a
in the
home.
world. I mean, it was on the radio a lot back then.
Yeah.
I remember working in a particular shop and it came on frequently and I would turn the music up very loud.
Was that the rubber flower
Yep,
shop?
that was the one.
Yeah. So because I like it, but I don't listen to it that much, I gave it a 4.
Oh, no, that's Infinity.
Okay. All right, but that brings us to the end. Some little overall thoughts. One thing that I did mention before, there was some songs on here and some melodies and things that they weren't super obvious, but they reminded me of songs like, it was like Dream Lover coming back. Like, I'd hear something and go, oh, that's a bit Dream Lovery, or it's a bit Through the Rain, like foreshadowing of Through the Rain. Like, there were just moments that I was like, Mariah's self-referencing. I kind of felt that even from future Mariah, when she's 9 or 10. But it's probably my favorite album on first listen. I think some others have kind of come up, like the debut sort of lifted for me. It's maybe tied with that. It doesn't have quite as many highs in terms of the
It doesn't have
the
anything
textures.
as camp as Prisoner.
Exactly. But I think it was generally a better listening experience than Emotions because there was more moments that were like, oh, that one. Yeah. And like you said, that this is an album that people remember.
It's still
Mariah.
my favorite album.
Is it? Of all of them?
I think so.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there are, I think consistently, like from beginning to end, I love this one more. Like there are, as we go along, there are songs I love so much more than maybe all of these.
But that's just the one
But it's,
song or something
it's usually
like that.
1 or 3 or half the songs.
I'm curious to get to your least favorite. Was it Emotions? Have we already done
No,
that?
Emotions isn't my least
it's-
favorite. I'm just
Okay,
trying to
interesting.
think.
Are there any songs, without giving it away, that you just really that might get a 1?
No,
from
nothing
you?
will get a
You
1.
just go,
But we might dip down to 3 at some point.
See, the 3s for me, that's like I like it.
Yeah, I like
You know?
them all.
I like that. And then 4's like I really like it, and then 5's like I love it.
I may have a 2. Like there might be a steaming number 2, but
I'm very curious.
I
about
doubt
this.
I'll go lower than that. But even like when the song comes, I'll probably be like, oh, actually no, I do like that after all this time.
I liked it just this afternoon. Okay, so favorite song from this album. You've kind of already answered that.
It's all I've ever wanted.
It's just all I ever wanted. So for me, I think it's a tie between Without You and Everything Fades Away.
Oh wow.
The reason I picked Without You over Hero is because I feel like Without You it's like Hero, except she got to sing Mariah vocals, not Gloria Estefan vocals.
She's really ruined
so
that
it's
song for you, hasn't
just
she?
it's kind of I think she's ruined it more for you, but it's kind of just
but
like
listen to you sound
the
poisoned.
more that's
Thinking of her
true.
flat
But
nasal
no,
B flat voice.
It's but no, I think there's something so unabashed with Without You. It's just like pure vocal. But Everything Fades Away, I just think is stunning as well. And then what about a little least favorite from this?
Least favorite. I mean, it's hard to have a least favorite on Music Box. I don't know. One of those stupid dance numbers.
Well, my least favorite is I've Been Thinking About You, just because of the production.
Yeah, but I really like her vocal on that one.
I like it too. You can still like it. It's just your least favorite. It's still a favorite. It's the least one.
It's either that or maybe it's just to hold you once again.
Oh.
Maybe that's my least favorite.
Okay.
It's just like I kind of like some of the highs of Now That I Know, and I like some of the highs of I've Been Thinking About You, but just to hold you once again, just kind of, yeah.
I'm now just having like visions of us once we're through the book and through the discography and everything else, of the next podcast being a pro-low podcast where we like I force you to listen to all of the To be honest, I haven't listened to all of the albums, so there probably would be from me as well. But that would be interesting. That
Once we get to the end, let's
just as like a little 6-part series
let's
or
do
something.
an entire podcast about people we don't know with regular names.
We'll call it regular name, or I don't know her. We'll call it I don't know her. That's it. Copywritten. We've copyrighted
I don't
it.
know her from possibly the block.
I feel like people would actually get onto that, like the I don't know her podcast, and it's just us trying to convince each other that song on that album is good. Okay. So the score for this one, it's funny because I take into account the other scores I've given, I thought I'd give this a higher score than I did, but when I went through, there was some 3.5s and things of that nature, but it's probably the highest initial score that I've given, which is a 4 out of 5, because it is pretty damn good. I do think that my enjoyment of the MTV Unplugged overall is a bit higher. But I wouldn't be mad at hearing some of these songs on that, just quietly. And as always, there is room to grow. The debut has grown exponentially.
Yes. It keeps getting better. And this will keep getting better the more you listen to it. That's why.
And also, we haven't heard my favourite Mariah album yet. So there's higher scores to come, don't you worry.
Well, this is an infinity for me.
The end. End of podcast.
Well, because of all I've ever wanted.
That one song is an infinity, so it makes the whole album infinity.
I mean, it's got Dream Lover and Hero on it, and Anytime You Need a Friend. Like, Anytime You Need a Friend is that's one of those songs that like I kind of had not really paid much attention to, and maybe because I listened to it so much when it came out.
Yeah.
So going back to it now, I was like, oh, that's right. And these remixes. Oh, and the scatting and this is so much Mariah.
Kim Cattrall.
This was the best thing. Like, if you were a fan of, say, Madonna, then you just got, like, her reedy little noise that she made. And then you saw her live and you're like, oh, what is that noise? Or if you liked Whitney, you got the song and then the remix would come out and it was just the song but longer. And, the same with, say, Kylie. It's just the song but longer. But with Mariah, she would go...
Except for Where Is the Feeling?
Yeah, whatever.
It's a whole
the whole Dream Lover remix business was a revelation to me. Like, it's like, oh, it's a different key. It's a different song. It is the same song, but it is a completely different song. And it's going for 10.5 minutes. And this is when I was doing a lot of dancing at nightclubs. And same with Anytime You Need a Friend. Like, having 4.5 minutes of her scatting over whistle tones. I'm not averse to that. So, for me, this album comes with all that baggage. So I can't give it not infinity.
Yeah, of course.
I can't.
That's fair enough.
So every time I listen to the album, like the other day, I was like, oh, I love all those songs. I'm going to go listen to all the remixes as well. Even Never Forget You remixes, which aren't great. But I listened to them.
But I still went there. I'm now very excited for the I Don't Know Her podcast, where we get to an album called Pro to the LO. No. I'm now just thinking, imagine like the idea of you giving a 1 here, it would be flipped. The idea of you giving an infinity, that's the goal.
Oh, wow.
We just keep going until you find a song that you could give infinity.
Yeah, look, I'm telling you, I worked in gay nightclubs when that fucking song was out, and I heard it too many times.
Which song?
The Millennium song.
Oh, yes.
Too many times. I never need to hear that.
And there's that one written by Gloria Estefan as well. We're doing this. It's happening. It's official. All right, but that does bring us to the end of a music box.
It's just, I'm going to have to go and listen to Dream Lover remix again. Dream Lover.
Okay. See you in 6 weeks. At the end of the podcast, baby. Almost there, almost home. You could probably say, but you won't because of copyright. As usual, find us on all of the things. We'll be hitting you with a little, what was it? The triple DP.
Triple DP.
Chapters. from the media of Mariah Carey.
Yes.
And we cannot wait to keep scrolling through the memoirs.
Yes, it's very exciting. And more bonus episodes just flying at you. Like they'll be DPing you as well.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. You'll be making noises. Get smart noises.
I'm not playing that thing again. It's too annoying. All right. Goodbye, Lavely.
Bye.
Yama Kipiebro, Cedere Facebo, Windog Latin, mi quote, UJ, Sufficer
Hey guys, it's Kayla Ewell from Directionally Challenged, a podcast about realigning your internal compass. New KFC chicken nuggets are finally here, and you have never had nuggets like these. All of the delicious KFC flavor you love in one amazing chicken nugget. 100% white meat, hand-breaded in KFC's original recipe. Order new KFC fried chicken nuggets now, available at participating KFC near you. Guys, they're finger-licking good.